Commander Alex Harper adjusted the collar of his uniform as the massive shuttle slowed near the glowing surface of Zyphora. The planet hung in the darkness of space like a jewel, a swirl of blues and greens surrounded by soft, shimmering clouds. Humans had rarely visited this part of the galaxy, and Alex knew his presence was unusual, even remarkable. He had been chosen for this mission not just because of his skills, but because he was a human who could adapt quickly to alien customs, something the Zalari, the dominant species of Zyphora, would notice immediately. The shuttle's doors opened with a hiss, and a cool, faintly metallic wind filled the cabin. Alex stepped onto the landing platform, his boots clicking against the smooth obsidian floor. Around him the palace towered, its architecture both graceful and intimidating, with towering spires and swirling patterns that shimmered under Zyphora's twin moons. The palace was alive with light and movement. Alien figures, tall and slender with skin that shifted colors depending on their mood, walked purposefully in all directions. Alex's mission was clear. He was to serve as a security officer and human envoy, tasked with protecting the visiting delegation and gaining the trust of the Zalari. Humans were rare in this part of space, and the Zalari were cautious, proud, and highly intelligent. They were also wary of outsiders. One misstep and the mission could end in failure or worse. As he entered the palace, Alex felt eyes on him. It wasn't unusual. Most visitors would notice his presence. But one pair of eyes made him stop. At the far end of the grand hall stood the queen of the Zalari, Celaria. She was regal, her posture perfect, her translucent skin glowing faintly in a way that seemed almost alive. Her eyes, large and golden, locked onto him, and Alex felt a sudden strange weight of recognition, though he had never met her before. Queen Celaria's breath caught. The face before her, a human man, was uncannily familiar. His jawline, the set of his eyes, even the way he carried himself, it all mirrored the face of her lost husband, long vanished in a war that had spanned galaxies decades ago. She had believed he was gone forever, and now, staring at this human guard, a surge of emotion she had thought buried surged through her chest. Alex, unaware of the recognition, continued forward, offering a polite nod. "Commander Alex Harper reporting as instructed," he said in his calm, steady voice. Queen Celaria inclined her head slightly, masking her surprise. "Commander Harper," she said, her tone formal but measured. "Welcome to Zyphora." She studied him carefully, her mind racing with questions. Was this some trick of fate, a strange genetic coincidence, or something more profound? The grand hall was lined with Zalari courtiers, advisors, and guards, all watching Alex's every move. Some whispered to each other, their voices soft and melodic. "He resembles her husband," one murmured. Another shook their head, unsure if it was real or illusion. Alex followed the queen through the palace corridors. The walls were alive with holographic murals depicting battles, discoveries, and achievements of the Zalari civilization. The artwork shimmered, moving like living memories. Alex felt a mix of awe and caution. He knew that first impressions mattered, and that the Zalari were observers in a way humans rarely were. They noticed everything. As they walked, Queen Celaria studied him discreetly. She asked questions indirectly about his journey, his mission, even the human way of life. Alex answered honestly, sharing his experiences on Earth, his training as a commander, and his philosophy on leadership. She listened, intrigued. There was something in his voice, his calm confidence, that reminded her of her husband. Not exactly him, but something close. Something human, brave, and dependable. The palace was a marvel of technology and artistry. They passed halls of floating gardens where plants glowed faintly in colors Alex had never seen before. Streams of water hung in midair, suspended by the Zalari's advanced magnetic fields. The air smelled faintly sweet, a mixture of alien flora and clean ozone. Alex took mental notes, knowing that understanding the culture was as important as any combat skill he possessed. Finally, they reached the Queen's chambers, a vast room with ceilings so high they seemed to touch the sky. Light cascaded through crystalline windows, scattering rainbow-colored patterns across the polished floor. Queen Celaria gestured for Alex to stand. "Commander Harper," she said, her tone softer now, tinged with something unspoken. "Your mission here is important. Not only do you protect our people, but you may also influence the future of Zyphora." Her eyes lingered on him for a moment longer than necessary, betraying the conflict inside her. Alex straightened. I understand, Your Majesty. I will serve to the best of my abilities. His voice was steady, but he felt a twinge of unease. He had faced dangerous situations before, but there was something unpredictable about the Zalari Queen. Something beyond mere protocol or strategy. The Queen studied him again, then turned and moved toward the observation balcony. You will be under my watch while you are here, she said, her voice firm. Do not mistake my interest for favoritism. I am testing not just your abilities, Commander, but your character. Alex nodded. I will comply, Your Majesty. As he settled into his quarters, Alex couldn't shake the feeling that his presence in the palace was more than a simple assignment. The palace was filled with secrets, old and new, and he had already begun to sense that the Queen herself might hold some of the keys to them. Later, in the quiet of his room, Alex examined the holographic briefing files he had received. They detailed Zephora's political structure, the Zalari military hierarchy, and their ongoing conflict with neighboring systems. Humans were rare allies in these regions, and Alex's mission could determine whether humans gained trust or faced hostility. Meanwhile, in the Queen's chambers, Celeria gazed out over the palace gardens. She thought of her lost husband, of the wars they had endured together, and of the impossible coincidence that this human, this stranger, looked like him. Her mind raced. Was he truly a link to the past? Or was he simply a mirror of qualities she had cherished in him? The palace night fell slowly, the twin moons of Zephora casting silver light over the terraces. Alex, unaware of the storm of emotion he had stirred, prepared for his first day of duty. He would stand guard, observe, and learn, but he also felt the weight of destiny pressing gently against him, as if the universe had nudged him here for a reason he could not yet understand. By the time the palace slept, Alex had met a few of the Zalari court, advisors with sharp eyes, warriors with a grace and strength unlike any humans could match, and scholars who seemed to know everything that had ever happened in Zephora. They were polite, sometimes distant, but always observant, and somewhere deep within the palace, Queen Celeria continued to watch him, torn between the duty of a queen and the stirrings of hope and curiosity that this human represented. The resemblance was uncanny, the coincidence impossible, and the implications unknown. In that first night, two destinies quietly intertwined. The human guard who had The next morning, Commander Alex Harper awoke to the soft hum of Zyphora's palace. Sunlight pale and silver from the twin moons filtered through the crystalline windows, painting the floor with rainbow reflections. The palace was alive even in early hours, shapes moving in the corridors, faint melodic sounds echoing from distant chambers. Alex prepared for his first day on official duty. He checked his equipment, making sure every device and tool was in perfect order. As a human in a world ruled by aliens far more advanced than himself, preparation was his strongest advantage. He could not rely on raw strength alone. Observation, intelligence, and quick thinking would be his weapons here. When he entered the grand hall, he was greeted by a flurry of activity. Zalari warriors trained with precision, their movements almost dance-like, while advisors debated strategies over glowing holographic maps. At the center, Queen Celeria sat, observing everything silently. Her eyes flicked toward him the moment he appeared, and for a second Alex felt the weight of her gaze like a physical pressure. "You will accompany me through the day," the Queen said without preamble. Her tone was formal, but beneath it lay a quiet intensity that Alex recognized as careful testing. He had faced many difficult assignments, but this one was unlike anything he had ever imagined. Their first stop was the palace archives, a vast chamber filled with floating screens, glowing tablets, and shelves that seemed endless. The air was filled with the faint hum of energy as Zalari scholars worked quietly, accessing knowledge accumulated over centuries. Alex had expected books and scrolls, not holographic knowledge banks containing records of history, politics, and technology. "This is where we store our history," Celeria explained. "Knowledge is power, Commander Harper, and sometimes it is also dangerous." Alex nodded. "I understand, Your Majesty. I will respect your rules and your records." Celeria's eyes lingered on him as if searching for something beneath his calm demeanor. "And yet," she said softly, "sometimes knowledge is not enough. One must also have intuition, courage, and wisdom. Qualities I see in you, or perhaps I hope to." Alex blinked, uncertain if he should respond. He chose honesty. I do not claim to be perfect, Your Majesty, but I will do my best. That is all any of us can do. The Queen inclined her head slightly, a hint of approval in her golden eyes. She gestured to one of the screens floating nearby. There is a puzzle here that has baffled our historians. Perhaps you will see it differently. Alex approached and examined the intricate patterns displayed. At first glance, they were unintelligible, abstract shapes and lines that seemed to shift when he looked away. But Alex's human mind worked differently than the Zelaris. While they relied on memory, intuition, and patterns seen over decades, humans often saw solutions by combining observation with trial and error. After several minutes, Alex made a series of adjustments to the sequence. A hidden compartment within the archive wall slid open, revealing a small metallic cube. Sileria's eyes widened slightly. You see differently, she whispered, almost to herself. Not like them. Like him. Alex turned to look at her, confused. Like who? Sileria only smiled faintly, masking her surprise. It does not matter now, Commander. What matters is that you have succeeded where others have failed. Word of Alex's success spread quickly through the palace. Whispers followed him down the halls. Some spoke with admiration, impressed that a human, an outsider, could solve a puzzle the Zelari scholars could not. Others spoke in suspicion, questioning whether the Queen was placing too much trust in someone she barely knew. Among the whispers, one name kept surfacing: the lost husband. Many of the older Zelari remembered him, a brilliant strategist, brave and compassionate, who had disappeared in a war that spanned galaxies. His absence had left the Queen in sorrow and the Empire in careful mourning. To see someone who resembled him even a little stirred old emotions and old fears. Later, as Alex walked through the palace gardens, he met Lyra, a young Zelari historian with keen amber eyes and an intelligence that seemed to sparkle like the palace crystals. She approached cautiously, as if unsure whether humans could be trusted in private. Commander Harper, she said softly, I have studied the records. You are unusual, not only because of your success today, but because of the way you carry yourself. Alex tilted his head. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Lyra smiled faintly, but there was seriousness in her expression. A good thing, I think, perhaps necessary. She glanced around, then lowered her voice. Some in the palace believe you might be linked to the past. They whisper of the Queen's lost husband. I do not know if you are the same, but your presence is stirring memories. Alex frowned. I am not him. I do not even know him. I am simply here to serve, to do what I can to help your people. Lyra studied him carefully, then nodded. That is enough for now. But be aware, Commander, the palace is full of eyes. Even the walls sometimes have ears. Alex realized that being human in a palace of such advanced beings was not just about skill. It was about learning their ways, earning trust, and navigating the unseen currents of politics. He had faced enemies before, but the palace's intrigue was subtle, invisible, and perhaps more dangerous than any battle he had ever fought. Meanwhile, Queen Celeria observed from her balcony, deep in thought. She recalled the man she had loved, the one who had disappeared in the cosmic war, and the hope she felt seeing Alex. Not hope that he was her husband, but hope that humans could bring a new kind of courage and perspective to her people. Her advisors whispered caution, warning her not to become too attached to one human, but she could not help herself. That afternoon, the palace received an urgent message from a neighboring system. A fleet of unknown ships had been detected near Zephora's borders, moving with precise formation, almost as if scouting. The Zelari military advisors debated their response, each suggestion more cautious than the last. Alex, observing silently, noticed a pattern in their movements, a subtle flaw that humans often saw because they approached problems differently. He spoke up. If I may, Your Majesty, Alex began, his voice calm but confident. Their formation is not just for scouting. They are testing defenses. A direct attack is unlikely, but they may be probing for weakness. We can prepare a defensive strategy that uses deception rather than brute force. The advisors paused, some skeptical, some intrigued. Celeria looked at Alex, her golden eyes sharp. Explain. Alex outlined a plan using decoy fleets and shield manipulations, strategies designed not just to defend, but to teach the Zelari something new about unpredictability. Some of the advisors frowned, others whispered to each other, but Celeria's expression was approving. You think like a human, she said softly. almost to herself. Perhaps that is why I notice you, in a way I cannot explain. The evening fell over Zyphora, painting the palace in deep blues and silvers. Alex retired to his quarters, exhausted but exhilarated. He understood now that his mission was not just protection, but partnership. The Zilari were brilliant, proud, and cautious. He had to earn their trust every day with every action. In her private chambers, Queen Celeria gazed at the stars. She thought of her lost husband, of the battles fought and the love she had carried for decades. And she thought of Alex, the human who resembled him in ways only the heart could notice. Perhaps the universe had given her a second chance, not with the man she had lost, but with a new kind of hope, one that could unite humans and Zilari in ways she had never imagined. The palace was quiet, yet tension lingered in the air. Intrigue, politics, and secrets swirled like invisible currents. Alex had survived his first day, but he knew the palace would not reveal all its challenges at once. Every step, every decision would matter. And somewhere in the shadows, forces both inside and outside the palace were already moving. The day's events had set threads in motion that no one could yet see in full. Alex, the human guard, was at the center of them all, unwittingly yet inevitably. The sun of Zyphora rose slowly over the horizon, casting pale silver light across the palace spires. Commander Alex Harper stood on the observation balcony, looking out at the sprawling city below. The twin moons had faded, leaving the sky a soft blue-gray streaked with clouds that shimmered faintly. Though peaceful on the surface, the palace buzzed with an underlying tension. Reports of unusual fleet activity had reached the Queen, and everyone in the court knew that danger was approaching. Alex's human mind was already working, reviewing the previous day's patterns. Unlike the Zilari, who relied on centuries of tradition and instinct, humans often saw unexpected solutions. He understood that to survive and serve effectively, he needed to combine careful observation with creativity. His thoughts were interrupted by a soft voice. "Commander Harper." Alex turned to see Lyra, the young Zilari historian, standing nearby. Her amber eyes were bright with concern. "The council is meeting," she said. "They want your assessment before any strategy is chosen." Alex nodded. He followed her to the war chamber, a vast room with walls of translucent crystal, glowing maps hovering in midair, and advisors moving like precise instruments in a machine. The Zilari council waited, their expressions a mixture of skepticism and curiosity. Queen Celeria sat at the head of the table, her golden eyes fixed on Alex. "Commander Harper," she said, "you have observed the fleet movements. Speak." Alex stepped forward. He studied the glowing map of the approaching ships. "They are moving in a testing formation," he said. "Not a direct attack, but a probe. They want to see how we respond, measure our defenses, and find any weaknesses." One of the senior Zilari advisors, tall and imposing, frowned. "We have observed patterns like this before. They are cautious. They will not act without full advantage." Alex shook his head slightly. "Yes, but they are also predictable in their methods. If we use unconventional strategies, we can control the situation. I suggest not just defending, but creating opportunities for deception." The council murmured among themselves. Some were impressed, others skeptical. The Zilari had never relied on a human perspective before. Alex continued. "We can use decoy fleets to draw them in. We can manipulate shield emissions to suggest vulnerabilities that do not exist, and we can create rapid strike teams that respond in ways they cannot anticipate. The key is unpredictability." The Queen leaned forward, her expression unreadable. "And you are confident this will succeed?" Alex nodded. "Yes, Your Majesty. It is a human approach, not one you may have considered, but it can work." Celeria looked around the room. The advisors hesitated, some glancing at each other. Finally, she spoke. "We will try your plan, Commander. But understand this. If it fails, the consequences could be severe." Alex's face remained calm. "I understand, Your Majesty, but I will not fail." Later that day, Alex walked through the palace gardens thinking about the upcoming test. He had studied the Zilari military, their traditions and their strengths. He knew they were formidable, faster, stronger, and more precise than humans, but that predictability could be a weakness. Humans often excelled where others relied too heavily on tradition. Lyra appeared at his side carrying a small data pad. "Commander, I have studied some historical battles. Your methods resemble some tactics used by the Queen's husband." Alex raised an eyebrow. "The Queen's husband?" Lyra nodded. "He was known for using unexpected strategies like you. I think the resemblance is more than just physical." She hesitated, then added, "The Queen may see it too." Alex didn't respond. He didn't want to speculate about the Queen's feelings. His focus remained on the task ahead. That evening, the Zalari Council prepared for a simulated attack. Floating holograms displayed enemy ships in formation, approaching the planetary defenses. Alex's heart raced, not with fear, but with anticipation. This was the moment to prove that humans could contribute something unique. The simulation began. The Zalari warriors followed traditional tactics, moving in precise patterns. Alex gave instructions to a small strike team of Zalari soldiers, suggesting maneuvers that contradicted standard protocol. At first, the warriors hesitated, uncertain if deviating from centuries of training was wise. "Trust him," Lyra whispered quietly. The strike team followed Alex's commands, executing maneuvers that surprised even the council. Decoy ships moved in unexpected ways. Shields flickered to create false weaknesses, and rapid strike teams repositioned in ways the holographic enemy could not predict. Queen Salaria watched silently. Her golden eyes narrowed. She recognized the tactics immediately. They reminded her of her husband's brilliance, the creativity, the daring, the ability to see possibilities where others saw only limits. She felt a surge of emotion she had thought long buried. As the simulation ended, the council evaluated the results. The human-led strategy had succeeded where traditional methods had failed. Enemy ships were trapped in the simulation, unable to exploit any weaknesses. "This is remarkable," one advisor admitted. Others nodded in reluctant agreement. Salaria turned to Alex, her expression softer now. "You have exceeded my expectations, Commander. Not just in skill, but in vision. Humans may yet have a place among us beyond what I imagined." Alex bowed respectfully. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I only aim to serve." The next few days were filled with palace intrigue and quiet observation. Alex began to learn more about Zalari culture, its rituals, its ceremonies, and the delicate balance of power among the court. Some courtiers were openly curious, while others were suspicious, watching him closely for any sign of weakness or betrayal. One evening, Lyra approached Alex again. "Commander, there is something you should see," she said, leading him to a hidden corridor beneath the palace. They entered a small chamber filled with holographic star maps, devices Alex had never seen, and a single glowing cube, the artifact he had discovered on his first day. "The Queen's husband studied this," Lyra explained. "He believed it held secrets to interstellar travel and communication. No Zalari has been able to activate it, until you appeared." Alex examined the device. Unlike Zalari technology, which relied on instinct and ritualized inputs, this cube seemed to respond to logic and problem-solving, the human mind. After several careful steps, Alex interacted with the artifact. Lights blinked, patterns shifted, and a projection of distant star systems appeared. Lyra gasped. You activated it." Alex looked up, surprised but focused. "It's responding to patterns, not tradition. Humans think differently," she nodded. "The Queen must know about this. You are more than a guard now, you are essential." That night, Queen Salaria summoned Alex to her private chambers. He entered cautiously, bowing. She stood near the window, looking out over the palace gardens, her expression unreadable. "You have done well," she said finally, turning to face him. "You see solutions where my advisors see none. You act with courage when others hesitate, and you remind me of someone I thought lost to time." Alex straightened. "Your Majesty?" She paused, her golden eyes flickering with emotion. "You resemble him, not in essence, but in action. Bravery, creativity, compassion, qualities my husband possessed. You remind me of what he stood for." Alex felt a strange mix of pride and unease. "I am not him, Your Majesty, but I will do my best to honor his memory and to serve your people." Salaria nodded. "That is all I ask. But understand this, Commander. Appearances may deceive, but actions reveal the truth. You have already shown yours." As Alex left the chambers, he realized something profound. His presence in the palace was no longer accidental. He had become a bridge between human ingenuity and Zelari tradition. A living example, the quiet tension that had settled over Zyphora was shattered one morning when alarms echoed through the palace halls. Commander Alex Harper was already in the observation chamber when the warning lights flashed red, bathing the room in a harsh, urgent glow. Holographic screens displayed a fleet of unknown ships approaching Zyphora's borders at unprecedented speed. They were sleek, angular, and heavily armed, moving with precision and intent that left no doubt. They were not scouts. Queen Celeria appeared beside Alex, her golden eyes flashing with determination. "This is not a test," she said, her voice calm but firm. "They have come to challenge us. Commander Harper, we will need your insight." Alex studied the fleet, analyzing their formation and speed. "They are skilled," he said, "but every fleet has patterns. If we can predict their moves, we can control the battlefield. I suggest a combination of deception and rapid deployment, like we practiced in the simulations." The Council of Advisors murmured in concern. Some were wary of relying on human intuition in a real battle. Others recognized that the strategies Alex had used successfully in simulations might give them an edge. Celeria made her decision swiftly. "Prepare the defense as he suggests," she ordered. "We will act, not react." The palace erupted into controlled chaos. Zelari warriors mobilized with precision, their movements a mixture of grace and lethal efficiency. The corridors and chambers were filled with the hum of energy weapons being readied and the soft whirring of defensive drones. Alex moved among the soldiers, giving instructions, observing their execution, and adjusting strategies in real time. As the fleet approached, the first wave of attacks came. Energy beams streaked across the sky and explosions rocked the outer defenses. The Zelari fleet responded as trained, but Alex's commands directed unexpected countermeasures. Shield projections flickered in unusual patterns, creating illusions of weakness in certain sectors while concentrating strength in others. Decoy ships maneuvered to draw the enemy fire, while strike teams moved in unpredictable arcs to intercept incoming threats. Queen Celeria watched from the command balcony, her heart pounding. She had led her people through many conflicts, but there was something extraordinary about seeing a human guard, someone she barely knew, commanding such precision and creativity. The resemblance to her lost husband was not in Alex's face alone now. It was in his actions, his courage, and his mind. During a lull in the attack, Alex noticed a small, irregular signal coming from the enemy fleet. "Your Majesty," he called, "they are trying something unusual. A small team is attempting to bypass our defenses directly toward the palace. It may be a diversion or it may be their main strike." Celeria's eyes narrowed. "Intercept them. Do not let them reach the inner sanctum." Alex quickly organized a strike team, combining human tactics with Zelari agility and speed. The team moved through hidden corridors and magnetic lifts, arriving just in time to confront the enemy landing force. Despite being outnumbered, they fought with unpredictable precision, using the palace architecture itself as cover and advantage. Alex led the final push, his human instincts guiding every move. With a series of clever maneuvers, they neutralized the intruders without unnecessary casualties. Lyra appeared beside him, her face pale but proud. You did it. You saved the palace," she said. Alex shook his head. "We did it together. Humans alone could not have done this." After the immediate threat was neutralized, a strange signal appeared on one of the palace consoles. It was not a threat. It was a holographic projection, emanating from a small device that had been hidden among the intruders' equipment. The projection flickered and then stabilized, revealing a figure, the lost husband of Queen Celeria, or at least a recording of him. The queen gasped, stepping back. "It cannot be." The projection spoke in a familiar, calm voice. "Celeria, if you see this, know that I am safe for now. I have been trapped in a parallel dimension, beyond the reach of our enemies. This device is my way of sending a message, should fate allow it." Alex watched in awe as Celeria moved closer to the projection. Her golden eyes shone with a mix of disbelief and hope. You survived," she whispered. "I thought I had lost you forever." The projection continued. "The enemies you face are only the beginning. A larger threat looms, one that could destroy not just Zyphora, but many worlds. Commander Harper may resemble me, but it is his human mind, his creativity and courage that may be the key to facing what is coming." Trust him, Celeria, as you once trusted me. The Queen turned to Alex, her expression a mixture of awe and understanding. Commander Harper, it seems your resemblance to him was not the only reason you are important. Your mind, your courage, your actions, they have proven invaluable. You are not him, but in many ways you are the hope he would have wanted me to find. Alex bowed, deeply moved. Your Majesty, I am honored. I will do everything I can to protect your people and your planet. Celeria studied him carefully, her eyes reflecting both the weight of past loss and the responsibility of the present. Then we must prepare. The enemy fleet we fought today was only a prelude. If my husband's warning is correct, we face a challenge unlike any before. In the days following the attack, Alex worked closely with Celeria and her advisors to strengthen Zephora's defenses. He taught the Zelari to anticipate threats in ways they had never considered, combining human intuition with their traditional methods. Lyra assisted, recording every adjustment and outcome. The Queen observed, sometimes silently, sometimes offering advice, but always learning to trust the judgment of a human guard who had entered her palace by coincidence, but had become essential to her people's survival. Celeria often thought of the holographic message. Her husband's words resonated deeply. Alex was not a replacement, he could never be, but he embodied qualities that reminded her of what she had lost. His presence brought courage, insight, and a sense of possibility that the Zelari had long needed. One evening, as the palace rested under the silver light of the moons, Celeria invited Alex to the observation balcony. Below them, the palace gardens shimmered with soft light, the trees swaying gently in the alien breeze. You have changed the way we see humans, she said softly, not because of who you resemble, but because of who you are. You are brave, clever, and compassionate, qualities that my husband valued above all else. In you, I see not a mirror of the past, but a hope for the future. Alex felt a surge of humility and pride. Your Majesty, I am only a human, but if my actions can help your people, I will do everything I can. Celeria's expression softened. That is enough, Commander. That is more than enough. The next day, scouts reported additional ships approaching Zyphora, larger and more heavily armed than before. Alex studied the reports carefully, identifying patterns in speed, formation, and energy emissions. He realized that the previous fleet was a test, and the real attack was coming soon. He gathered a team of Zelari warriors and strategists, explaining a plan that relied not on overwhelming strength, but on adaptability, speed, and creative problem-solving. Some advisors were skeptical. Old habits died hard. But Celeria's silent approval strengthened Alex's resolve. We will face them together, she said, her voice firm and steady. Human and Zelari as allies. We will not falter. Alex nodded, feeling a sense of purpose he had never experienced. The palace, once intimidating and alien, now felt like a place where humans and Zelari could stand together, blending strengths to face challenges far greater than either could face alone. And somewhere, in a hidden part of the palace, the holographic message from Celeria's husband continued to flicker, a reminder that the past was never truly gone, and that the future depended on courage, trust, and the unexpected heroism of a human mind in an alien world. The sky above Zyphora was filled with the distant hum of approaching fleets. Commander Alex Harper stood on the observation balcony, the wind from the twin moons brushing against his face. Below him the palace stirred with energy. Zelari warriors moved with purposeful grace, deploying defensive drones and preparing energy shields. Every corridor, every terrace, every chamber was alive with anticipation. Queen Celeria joined him, her golden eyes steady and focused. The main fleet has arrived, she said. Their strength is unlike anything we have faced before. But we will endure, Alex nodded. He had studied their formations, analyzed energy signatures, and worked tirelessly with the Zelari strategists. Today, survival depended on combining human unpredictability with Zelari precision. We will need to act quickly, he said. We can anticipate some of their maneuvers, but the key will be mobility and adaptability. If we respond the same way every time, they will find an opening. Celeria placed a hand lightly on his arm. I trust you, Alex, not because you resemble someone I lost, but because of who you are. Let us face this together. The fleet descended into Zyphora's atmosphere, energy beams slicing across the sky as the battle began. The Zalari warriors engaged immediately, moving with fluid precision, their weapons glowing and striking with deadly accuracy. But the human strategies Alex had proposed added a new element: decoys, sudden repositioning, and rapid strike teams that kept the enemy guessing. Alex led a small squad through a hidden route to the enemy's forward command ship. Lyra accompanied him, navigating the complex corridors with a holographic map projected in her mind. The squad moved silently, eliminating enemy drones and disabling systems without detection. This way, Alex whispered, guiding them toward the central control room. He had noticed a flaw in the ship's energy field. A human eye could see it, a flaw the Zalari had overlooked. We can disrupt their coordination from here. It may turn the tide of battle. The squad reached the control room and Alex quickly interfaced with the ship's systems. Sparks flew, alarms blared, and within moments, the enemy fleet began to lose formation and coordination. Outside, the Zalari forces capitalized on the confusion, pushing back with precision strikes. Meanwhile, Queen Solaria coordinated the palace defenses with calm authority. Her golden eyes reflected pride and admiration for Alex. She realized that humans were not fragile creatures. They could think, adapt, and act with courage that rivaled the greatest Zalari warriors. As the battle raged on, a strange energy pulse appeared in the sky, a remnant of the mysterious technology from the previous encounter, likely a message or trap left by her husband's enemies. Zalaria understood instinctively that it could be dangerous, but she also saw an opportunity. Alex, she said urgently, there is a device up there. It may hold the key to ending this conflict quickly. You must investigate, Alex nodded. I understand. Lyra, with me. The two ascended in a swift transport, weaving through the chaos of beams and explosions. The energy pulse grew brighter as they approached the device. A glowing cube hovering in space, its patterns shifting unpredictably. Alex analyzed it carefully. It was similar to the artifact he had activated before, but more complex, more powerful. It responds to logic and problem-solving. Alex observed aloud. Not brute force, I think. I can use it to neutralize their fleet. Lyra watched anxiously. Be careful, Commander. We cannot afford a mistake. Alex focused, adjusting the device's inputs, applying human reasoning and creativity. Slowly, the pattern stabilized and a wave of energy radiated outward, disrupting the enemy fleet. Ships lost coordination, weapons malfunctioned, and many were forced to retreat. From the palace balcony, Silaria watched the sky shift. It is working, she whispered. Your mind, your courage. It has saved Zephora. The battle ended with the enemy retreating, leaving Zephora unharmed. The palace erupted in celebration, but Alex remained focused. We must remain vigilant, he said. This may not be the last threat. But today, we have won. Queen Solaria approached him, her expression soft. You have done more than win a battle, Commander. You have shown my people and me that humans are capable of greatness. Your courage, your thinking, your heart, all of it matters. Alex shook his head modestly. I only did what I could. The Zalari fought with me, not for me. That is why we succeeded, Solaria smiled. And that is why you have earned a place of trust among us. Not as a human who resembles someone I loved, but as a partner, a friend and a hero in your own right. In the days following the battle, Alex was formally honored by the Queen and the Council. A ceremony was held in the Grand Hall, where Zalari warriors, scholars, and citizens gathered to recognize his achievements. Though the hall was filled with awe-inspiring alien architecture, it was the human presence, Alex. Standing tall and humble, that drew the attention of everyone. Lyra presented him with a small token from the palace archives, a symbol of gratitude and trust. You have changed how we see humans, she said softly. You have given hope. Alex accepted it with respect. Thank you. I am honored to serve your people, and I will continue to do so. Solaria watched from her throne, golden eyes reflecting both pride and quiet emotion. She thought of her husband trapped in another dimension and the message he had sent. Alex was not a replacement, but he had become something equally important. A living bridge between humans and Zalari, a symbol of courage, ingenuity, and hope. In the quiet moments after the celebrations, Alex and Solaria walked together through the palace gardens. The glowing plants swayed gently in the breeze, and the twin moons cast silver light over the paths. "You have done more than defend Zyphora," Celeria said. "You have united us in ways I could not have imagined. Humans and Zelari, perhaps we are stronger together than we ever were alone." Alex looked out over the gardens, reflecting on the journey that had brought him here, from a human guard entering an alien palace to someone trusted by one of the galaxy's oldest civilizations. "I believe that too, Your Majesty, and I will do everything I can to help that alliance grow stronger." Celeria smiled, the first truly relaxed smile in years. "Then let this be a new beginning. For humans, for Zelari, and for the future we will build together." As the palace settled under the light of the twin moons, a quiet sense of unity filled Zyphora. The enemy fleet had been repelled, but more importantly, humans and Zelari had learned to trust each other in ways that could shape the galaxy. Alex knew there would be challenges ahead. Other threats, unknown dangers, and the mysteries of the universe that had yet to be revealed. But for the first time, he felt that humans were not just outsiders in the cosmos. They could contribute, they could inspire, and they could lead in ways that mattered. Queen Celeria returned to her chambers, her thoughts lingering on Alex and the lessons he had taught her. Courage, creativity, and loyalty, these qualities had never depended on species. They had depended on heart. And in Alex, she had found a human who embodied all three, reminding her that hope and heroism often come from the most unexpected places. The palace was quiet now, but the future shimmered with possibility. Humans and Zelari would stand together, prepared for whatever challenges lay ahead. The Queen had found not just a capable guard, but an ally and friend who could help guide her people through the uncertain paths of the galaxy. And Alex, the human who had once simply resembled someone long lost, had become a symbol of hope, courage, and the extraordinary potential of humanity.